everybody. Welcome back to No More, No Less. I'm Michael Chikeen, and today in the virtual studio, I have with me Marty Strong. When I started reading about Marty, it appeared he's living 10 lives at once, or perhaps one at a time. Marty is a retired Navy SEAL officer. He's a former UBS portfolio manager, and he is currently CEO of a middle market healthcare company. Marty serves on the boards of Best Robotics, Metal Raptor, and is the president of Best Mind Lab, a new for-profit entity known by Best Robotics Inc. He's also a motivational speaker and the author of 9 published novels and 3 published business books. His latest book is called Be Different: How Navy SEALs and Entrepreneurs Bend, Break, or Ignore the Rules to Get Results. The book is currently available for pre-order and comes out in early December 2024. So there's lots to cover, so let's get going. Marty Strong, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Michael.
Well, I've read that your biggest passion is influencing change, both in people and within the organization. And the rule that I've seen is a bit of your motto is that everything is changing. So I wonder if we start, because I know everything I think comes from within, from our own experiences. So what is maybe the most dramatic change you've either experienced or maybe witnessed that stamped that ethos into your worldview?
Well, my life story is it's a series of fairly dramatic pivots that were not anticipated or planned, which people who know me think is a little ironic because I'm a fairly detailed planner and I'm always thinking out into the future. I write about it, I speak about it, and my entry into the Navy. I went into the Navy to be a radar expert and air traffic control expert. Went to that school, and then my very first set of orders out of the school was a mistake, and I ended up at the SEAL training course in Southern California, where I thought they were going to help me get my orders squared away. Instead, they talked me into volunteering to be a SEAL. So didn't anticipate that. That's a pretty big, hard right or hard left turn on the trajectory I thought I was on at the time. And then later on, I became an officer after half of my time in the teams, and didn't anticipate I was going to become an officer. I thought I was just going to stay enlisted, maybe do a whole 20 years as an enlisted, but I did half as enlisted and half as an officer. So then towards the end, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. So I took all the tests and everything to go to law school, and had my resume and my transcripts from school and everything, and my scores being sent to law schools. And another SEAL came in, found that out, took me to lunch and talked me into going into financial services. So suddenly I wasn't going to be a lawyer after preparing for it for my last year in the Navy. And I got into money management. So
yeah, but that is quite drastic. How does someone talk you into taking a completely different route? Because UBS is also an enormous bank. And so was there a path that led you directly through UBS, or was it just a career trajectory that this SEAL talked you into?
Originally, he was trying to talk me into working for the same firm he was working for. He'd been out already for about a year, and he was working for a international IPO company called Alex Brown, based in Baltimore. And they were a boutique shop, but they were very, very successful. He happened to speak Brazilian, and so he was in the shop that was handling new companies going public in Brazil. Right. I didn't speak Brazilian, but he said, "Hey, the son of the owner is a SEAL, and he loves SEALs, and he'll hire you and train you whatever you need to do." Wow. But the big hook was, why do you want to go through another 3 years of school? I already had my graduate degree, so I was like, why do you want to do that? And he basically talked me into, I could make just as good money. I could do kind of the same things. I could have a lot more freedom, because I didn't want to be a lawyer in a corporation. I wanted to be a lawyer kind of like on a main street, put a shingle up kind of thing.
Right.
And he goes, well, just go talk to him, see what you think. So I did. But I ended up going with a company called Legg Mason, which is another small company, a regional company. Did that for 2 years before I joined UBS. I did 6 years with UBS. So I was basically talked into it because I really didn't want to go through 3 years of school.
That is a pretty easy sell, especially because you said at that point you had done 20 years of service?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm in my early mid 50s now, and a few years ago, I was also thinking like, do I want to go back to school for a master's, etc. And I chose a different route basically because I didn't want to do 2 or 3 years of school, and also I would have had to live in the UK. So like that time investment school wise, unless you're really passionate about it, is a big differentiator.
That, and you have to have enough free space in your life. I had little kids, and it was more important for me to try to make sure I could pay the bills and all that when I came out of the military. After
Yeah,
20 years of the money just showing up in the bank account, all of a
yeah,
sudden I was out there scrambling, trying to find new clients and invest their money and all that. So that was a different lifestyle. So there wasn't room in my world to go to school, and so it was
right.
good advice. And so that's how I ended up going there. And then 9/11 hit, and I felt terrible about not being in uniform and not being back in the SEAL teams. I've got
Yeah,
80% disability from my 20 years, and I thought, well, I tried, and they weren't accepting people that were unable to go into combat, so to speak. So I started working with counterterrorism, and eventually I sold my practice to another guy, and I got into
okay,
the counterterrorism consulting business with mostly the federal government. Although I did act as an advisor to the Greek government for the Greek Olympics. The so that was another big pivot, and that was caused by 9/11 more than anything else. I think I'd probably still be managing money today if that hadn't happened. I just
wow,
within the next couple of days, I had kind of some soul searching and thought, I need to do something that's bigger than just try to make money for people.